Kamal Henry Richards, also known as KO from the 98 gang in Hackney, will now find himself behind bars in one of the longest sentences given to a UK rapper.
The 20-year-old victim was shot and stabbed multiple times in broad daylight.
Over a decade ago, he was stabbed 9 times on 2 separate occasions. That's 18 knife wounds.
In this video, we're going to be looking at the case of KO, which has been trending in the UK scene recently because of the sentence dropped on him and his members, totaling 147 years between just 4 people. Like always, I'm going to try to keep this video brief and sweet and not go too in-depth into everything, but touch on the history of KO's gang and what got him put behind bars for 37 years at just the age of 26. Before I begin, I just want to say that this video is not to glorify crime in any sort of way, but to provide information on individuals that are part of the UK drill scene. With all that being said, let's get straight into it. So KO is part of the 98 gang in Hackney and beats ZT or London Field Boys. You see, the 98 gang has a couple of well-known faces in the scene like Unknown T and V9, but their history and beef go way back as far as the 90s, and is a lot messier than you think. The 98 gang that KO reps is a gang made up of Hackney, E8, Holly Street and E9 Homerton, and the postcode numbers together make up 98. However, on the other side of the beef, you had the London Field Boys, also based in the E8 postcode. London Field Boys, LFB or ZT, are based in a separate part of the E8 postcode of Hackney, and LFB would originally form from the Hackney Boys. The oldest of the group will also ride as Mash Time, releasing music under the name back in the early 2000s.
We got orders like Peasy, really cute cheese on. Couple straps, 3-8 and a 4-4 long. But we ain't hiding from these niggas, cause the 4 was on. Cause I used to be a young G in a number 9 top. Now I'm on that older leg that pop. White tees, air and swag on the block. Before year 9 came, I had to cop me a watch.
The reason why I say ZT or London Field Boys is because ZT, which stands for Zero Tolerance, was formed because of the death of a fellow London Field Boys member called Dedo. Before I get onto the case of Dedo, it's important to mention that the 98s and LFB beef was hot in the early 2000s, with a member of LFB called JD getting shot in the leg with a pistol and pumped straight in the chest with a shotgun, where he later died at the scene of the crime. The beef will continue for a decade with multiple members on each side losing their lives, but on the 24th of April 2013, Dedo, who was making a lot of noise in the scene, was out celebrating his 16th birthday and will hop on the 393 bus, but little did he know this was where his life would come to an end. Skid, a member of Pembury, which are affiliated with the 98 gang, will stab Dedo several times on the bus before running out of the bus with the blade still in his hands. Dedo will be airlifted to the hospital, but it was too late, and he later died at just the age of 16. An investigation was launched and Skid was later arrested and slapped with 12 years behind bars. Dedo's friends were heard by this news and will form the gang that we hear about today, called ZT, in honour of Dedo. After ZT was formed, they wasted no time and go hunting for their rivals. November 2014, a 98's member called Dedo was out talking to an 18-year-old girl, but this girl was a set-up chick who was friends with ZT members. Dedo wasn't aware of all this, and on the 6th of January 2015, the girl attempted to set up Dedo and asked to meet with him. When Dedo arrived, ZT members Trey, Psycho and Aspo jumped out and attacked him, but he managed to get away, only ripping his coat at the time. The girl would ask to meet with Dedo again around Homerton High Street, and when he arrived, several ZT members would chase him, but he wasn't so lucky this time. He would end up getting caught and stabbed 3 times in the chest, piercing his heart. There's a picture of Dedo after the incident, which I can't show on YouTube, but this comment pretty much sums it up. And it's honestly just sad to see, because again, this kid was only 17 years old. Trey, Psycho, Aspo and the setup chick will be jailed after the investigation. A couple years later, a track would surface called J.Dot's Corpse by ZT member Lats, and judging by the title, you guys can already tell how the song goes.
-2 and it's all about evidence. We got a picture of JD's corpse. 3 hours ago, always in my thoughts. He ain't got no remorse behind this old door. If you hate your M, not less, not more.
The beef between 98s and ZT will only get worse after both gangs will now start releasing music, dissing each other and mocking dead members.
Been round for all the bits the ghost. It come like ZT, stay at home. How many times I made Cycle dash? He quicker than Booth and Cash.
Not one time did they hunt in the field, they just build up a fan base online with friends.
Rambo got used in the 9, my hunting got used in the 8.
Both gangs will also have members who will start making a name for themselves in the music scene and gain numbers. ZT member Ballistic with the tune Who's Next and Unknown T from the 98s with the famous Homerton B song. If these gang names are sounding a little familiar, it's because the TV show Top Boy is based around the ZT and London Fields beef, seen as Hackney is one of the most well-known areas in London for gang violence.
ZTs stand for Zero Tolerance. For any other gang, for anyone else shotting on the streets.
Before we continue, if you made it this far, it probably means you're enjoying the video, so drop a like and subscribe to support the channel. The beef between the gangs will see multiple deaths and families hurt, but on the 5th of November 2017, KO will make his name known in the music scene and drops a Mad About bars on Mixtape Madness, which now sits at 8.6 million views. KO saw success early and will quickly fall in love with music, releasing tunes every couple months. And now September 2020, he will link up with the other big names in the 98s gang to drop one of the biggest drill albums called Class of 98s, which made a lot of noise in the scene. It seemed like the future was bright for KO, but like the saying goes, the gang life only ends in two ways: prison or death. August 13th, 2022, KO and another 98s member called Hitman will get a drop that ZT members will be present around Walthamstow, London. KO and Hitman will tell two other 98 members, and the four will link up in Leighton Cafe during the day to come up with a plan of attack. On the other side, ZT member KC Booth, known as KB, is making his way to his friend's child's 1-year-old birthday party, this friend being an older ZT member called Chaos. KO, Hitman and the two other 98s members will get strapped up and go on a ride out around Walthamstow, which is when they spot KB at the Peterhouse Community Centre where the birthday party was happening. The 98s gang will start firing a pistol at the crowd, and it's rumoured that they were aiming for Chaos, the dad of the 1-year-old child, but instead KB was shot and was later pronounced dead at the scene. An investigation was launched following the shooting. KO and the other 98s will lay low for a bit until September 2022, where KO will release a song called Laughing Stock just a month after the shooting. In the song, he makes a lot of references to the shooting, and he will premiere two other remixes to drop on the same day. In one of the remixes, he says KO saying killing SHIT, it was me that day that rinsed that clip, literally admitting to be the person who pulled the trigger killing KB. However, where KO messed up was the fact that he mentioned how and where KB had been shot and killed, which was not yet mentioned to the public. He said in his lyrics, both were slapped at functions, neck and head handguns come handy, further linking him to the murder. And if that wasn't enough, he also said Big Booth and Little Booth got hit, same sig, that's a Sour family, referencing how KB and his brother Kyle Booth got shot and killed with the same pistol. The prosecution would use these lyrics and the ongoing war between 98s and ZT in court to convict KO and the others for the murder of KC Booth. January 14th, 2025, 98s member Hitman was sentenced to 35 years behind bars. Kamani Donaldson got 38 years, and both Pateko T and KO got a minimum of 37 years behind bars, which means when he comes out of jail, he'll be 63 years old. 37 years behind bars is actually insane, and what's even more mad is the fact that KO is only 26 years old and had a music career that was taken off but decided to throw it all in the bin and catch an M charge instead. On the same day, KO would release a tune from jail called C'est la vie, which is French for That's Life, and in the tune he'll rap about the fact that he got slapped with nearly 40 years behind bars.
If the streets were a coin, won't be head or tails, would be death or jail. 2 fails, I got the better L. Sitting in my cell, trying to get this bread and swell. Listen, there's a difference between badness and just mental health.
It was also rumoured that KO and the others were seen smiling and joking around during the court hearing, until the verdict was read out and it went completely silent. KO will also reference this in the song.
No lie, my heart sank when the verdicts got delivered, and now it's armbands that I'm wearing on the visit. Funny that true I was a captain on the curbs. You know how much works that's been mashed off my word. The
violent gang member suspect who I made a video on will be getting out a decade before KO, just to really show you guys how long he's doing behind bars, even saying himself looking at a third of a century, but c'est la vie. If you take anything from this video, let it be that the gang life is truly not something you want to be involved in. You got family and friends that fully care for you, so stay smart and let me know in the comments if I missed anything. I'll see you guys in the next one. God bless.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself, and if you get stretched, don't forget yourself. Sometimes the outcome you expect's not what you get yourself. How do I know? I went against Rex and got to wreck myself.